Your story is a set of worry one society buries. The women call it embarrassment, the men call it excitement, but you alone hold the sentiments of what runs in your head, of what caused the wounds, of the inches, of the scars of what shatters the critics, of what your eyes see, of your heart, of what your heart hides, of your tears, of what your tears mean, of what our laughter does, and what our silence speaks of, what our intolerance tolerates of, what our ignorance knows of, what our blindness sees of, what our deafness hears of, our madness, of what our madness sobers of, what our unfairness settles of, the jokes we prayed from pain of, that the face we present to your face. Woman, speak with your head held high, with your tongue so light, of the wrongs we justify, of the violence we cherish, of the corpses we make, of the news we confuse, of the men we defend, of the women who surrender, of the evil we glorify, and of the pain women die from. This is your time to free your soul. Woman, speak, not to haunt, not to frighten, not to taunt. Speak your truth, clear and strong, let it heal. Don't linger long, your voice is power, your heart is free. Tell your story responsibly.
Unfatherly father. Even in a uniform, my father's edgement did not see a child who saw a dustbin for his last. He said what didn't last. He touched me where my father touched not. He bought me what my father bought not. He promised me promises life. But his voice was my choice. His touch was fatherly. His whispers were sweet like a tea, and his smell was of pastel omena. He offloaded my burdens. Dad called me weak, but this man ran my every week. Mom called me lazy, but this man ran me crazy. Teacher called me a slow learner, but this man called me his joy. He had thousands of adjectives for my eyes, thousands of monies for my pocket, the widest chest for my lungs, and million jokes for my laughs. He had 100 outings for my God on the right songs for my happiness. The timely encouragement for my disencouragement. He had the right kisses for my lips and the right embrace for my breasts. He was the catalyst of my happiness. He was the key to my world of pleasure. He was the man of my dreams. He taught me erotic romance. He borrowed Romeo's songs. He cuddled like he created me. He knew every key in the human piano. I sang, cheered, and shouted, but I died 1,000 times in his arms. You know, he called me his moon and the stars, the little fish, the waters, his football goalposts, his electorate of happiness. But he deceived me, he pierced me, and he abandoned me. School abandoned me to my parents, who abandoned me to him, my world. He now jeers and sneers at me, he now frowns and dismisses me. He now frowns and dismisses me. He now remembers the age difference. He now respects his wife. He now values his dignity. He says he now values his dignity. He condemns it to naive girls. He now judges my he now judges my stupidity to surrender. He is now a saint and a father figure. He now remembers that I am young to carry his baby. He threatens to report to his wife.
Another one. With killed future, with injured childhood, with rushed adulthood, with stolen pride, with stunted hopes, with absent present parents, with a bed of nightmares and 1,000 stairs, judging, and scourging another baby with a baby proudly made in madness, buried in silence.
But why must you, gathered here today, blame it on me? We don't call them to our beds. No, we don't. But just like in Senate to bright light, they take a flight of might and hang on our pockets. Oh yes, they ask and we give. They knock and we open. They seek and always find. And when they finally choose to answer the call of quenching our call, then why must we not be bold enough to roll and crawl all together in ecstasy? You see, the young ladies, each and every single time they must come and chop and chew our hard-earned money before we can actually chew their southern hemisphere. You see, each and every single time they do this, we come and take a swim in the waters of the river. You see, a man's flat is not an oath. His promise is not as binding as we want it to be. A man's flat is not an oath. His promise is not as binding as we want it to be. And so at the end of the day, I don't care because I should not. You see, I was the flame of the fire in sex. You were just like my bed power bed. And so you became my commonplace pet. So why must I care? I shouldn't. Can someone here tell me whether football players remain in the same position after scoring a goal? Do fishermen still give fish worms even after it is trapped out of the water? Do traders still keep on singing and shouting and screaming after selling the very last item? Do politicians still give salt and sugar after winning elections? And yet here I am being mingled in the past of a cow who didn't know her limits. Do bees still dance for flowers after collecting the nectar? Do the hunters still keep feeding the traps even after the antelope is caught? They don't. And yet here I am facing a funny-faced, good-for-nothing little girl with no bright future ahead of her except one. You can never, ever be my wife. No, you can't, because she is way better than you. You see, you can't trap me with that pregnancy because I am way above that. You too young to handle a man, too silly to face my wife, and too loose like I say no trap with broken bricks to be trusted by my tongue. Have no dignity for your body. In fact, you and the word integrity can never be in the same sentence. You have no dignity for your body. You use your mouth, your ears, and all the openings on you just to enjoy fun. You spread wide those things you call your legs in the bush, in the toilet, in the dark corners of the bar just to prove that you know. You did despicable, detestable, deplorable, and disgusting things to me. Learn your manners. on your mother, your brokenness on your father, your recklessness on your peers, your inferiority on your teacher, your excitement on your good-for-nothing peers, and your pregnancy on your carelessness. I provided the money, and you provided your body. I provided the bed, and you brought and provided your nakedness. So do you therefore expect a hungry lion to just stare, fold its arms, cross its legs, and watch in silence? Secondly, we all agree that football players don't remain where they score from. No, they don't. They run away to celebrate from their own half. You see, fishermen don't feed dead fish, but instead, they feed on it. So from here henceforth, take your tears to your peers. I'm a man of your father's age. In fact, you're even raising my sugar levels. You see, students like you should sleep in books. When I promised you the world, what did you expect the rest of us here and everywhere else to stay? Woman,
Speak! Not to haunt, not to frighten, not to taunt. Speak your truth, clear and strong. Let it heal, not linger long. Your voice is power,
your heart is free. Tell your story responsibly.
All I wanted was a job. All my hopes in your palms I placed, but you saw the pain. You saw the hunger in my stomach. You saw the poverty in my conscience. The seed folded and warm from my hands. And you shortlisted me for your bed. A closed room with a bed was my interview room. A naked man, pot-bellied slave was my interviewer, whispering. But I expected questions, not erections, an examination, not an ejaculation, a salary, not a flattery. Cruel, you exposed. Cruel, you exposed yourself upon me. My world shattered as I clutched bedsheets. I listened to myself down, deep down, for a future, for better futures. Trust me, what I dreaded, I cannot reclaim. I can't reclaim. I sit with my guilt, blaming myself for a man full of himself. There was no job, there was no shame, there was no remorse. There was no remorse, just a naked man who prunes his manlyhood by shuttering a woman.
That wasn't for a job. A man who feeds the mouth can as well choose when and how to shut it. I promised you a job. Yes, I did. I asked for a little favor. Yes, I did. And all you could offer was you. Your humiliatingly humble background pushed your back to the ground, your feet to the ceiling, and hands clutching, shouting sweet nothings, throwing off all clothes and still hoping for a job. Did you really think? Did it really occur to you that your size and thighs could buy you a contract? Did you really think that your indecent dressing could win my heart? Did you really think that your makeup could meet any of the job requirements? Lust has never written, will never write any recommendations. I sniffed, in spite of myself, your cheap perfumes, had your breathless tongues before my touches, your lips tasted hunger, and you, in fact, enjoyed the privilege of my best perfumes. No, you couldn't have the job. it was just a lesson for you. It was just a chapter in the Gospel of Man. You see, rounds and rounds and rounds of coitus don't better see these. You see, bed interview is strictly and exclusively for wives, not for employees. It is not what your aunt taught you that wins a job. But you see, it's what you learned in class that determines class. I whispered to your ears, and to me you laid all your fears. You gave your body for a promise, and now I boldly declare you a fool, used like a stool to keep Southern Hemisphere cool. Woman,
Speak, not to haunt, not to frighten, not to taunt. Speak your truth, clear and strong. Let it fill, not linger long. Your voice is power, your heart is free. Tell your story responsibly.
Somewhere behind her mother's kitchen stands a girl, crying and trying to heal. The man she calls uncle sneaked to her room to remove her knickers before tearing her loose. She cries not because she is shy, but she cries because her body is painful. She cries because her dress is stained. She cries because her soul is injured. But her mother tells her it will be okay. Her mother tells her her father should not know about this. She's breaking and hoping she will. But her uncle laughs and smiles. She hears his voice every day, whispering threats and laughs. She still feels the coldness of his sweat through her thighs. She still feels the weight of his chest pressing her down. She still feels his foot touches her arm. But her uncle laughs. Her uncle laughs and he sleeps. While she still feels the weight of his chest pressing her down, the piercing pain of the unholy surgery. She wants to scream. She thinks it's a dream. She feels the bandaging on her mouth with his big palm. The threats whispered like sweet nothing. But her soul screams. Her soul screams. She has been to hell. She sees monsters every day. She sees her open grave. She wishes she was brave. She cries. She cries. She cries. Somewhere in the crowd walks a lonely girl. Her pastor pested STI in her thighs. She went to church to pray, but the pastor prayed for her. She met the devil at the altar preaching salvation, yet he served her damnation. Her father said it was the devil. Is she meant to stay quiet? Is she meant to pray for the pastor? But her soul is screaming. She has been to hell. She sees monsters every day. She sees her open grave. She wishes she was brave, but she cries and she cries and she cries. She cries again. You see, when a girl is raped, it is the short skirts and her short dresses. You see, when a girl is raped, it is the short skirts and her short dresses that are the problem. It is the association with boys that are the problem. It is her careless moments in the night that are the problem. Her everything is every problem, but the rapist is treated like a rich man. When a girl is raped, everyone remembers their physics. Did you hear? I said when a girl is raped, everyone remembers their physics. The translucency, the transparency, the translucency of her skirt is examined. The magnitude of her bum shaking and the earthquake on men's hearts. The temptation of her pointed boobs sent to men is reviewed. girl is wrecked, you know, when a girl is wrecked, there is enough to blame it on her. The world moves on without her. The teachers, the newspapers have a better story to tell. The preacher has a better homily to give. The schools have better students to celebrate, and the homes have better relatives. You know, when a girl is raped, she is expected to heal. When a girl is raped, she is expected to heal. Her tears are expected to dry. Her mouth is expected to remain shut. But no one knows that she dies every day praying that she can heal. No one knows that she still feels the pain. She still feels the pain of the forced touches. She still feels the pain of the cold kisses and the weight of the man she once respected. So when this raped girl surrenders, buys poison or a rope to kill herself, society gathers to bury her. But they blame her death when the drugs or the failed abortion. Society moves on. Her story is the broken wing. It blows, it gathers and it hisses. It dries in the emptiness of the world. Her story is a frustrated hip. It cuts, it ruffles its black-haired hair, and it goes back to eating grass.
But in truth, you enjoyed it. Yes, you did. I could see how you were moaning and screaming and gently rubbing my back. They humbly ask for money and reluctantly accept to pay for it. You see, society gives you ears, and so you lose your ears to tear. Why would you blame someone who served your wrong ass? Stop playing the victim. Woman,
Speak, not to haunt, not to frighten, not to taunt. Speak your truth, clear and strong. Let it heal, not linger long. Your voice is power, your heart is free. Tell your story responsibly. Her story vanishes like midnight wind. The world listens but never hears. Power grows deaf, guilt walks in. Woman, take up the front row, grab the biggest horn and blow the blow that commands even when you tremble. Let your shame die. You will not be the same. Your story must never die. Your story must never die on the lips of the dying woman wishing she were a man. Pain unspoken, but is more pain. Your story is not a declaration of the first half football match standings. It's a declaration of war. It is a sharp spear in the breast of the foe. Your story isn't yours alone. It's the story of spirits of the mother who died after thorough breaking of her heart. Your story is the redemption of a woman in the village in chains of demands to respect the commands of a man arriving drunk from circles of weak men, shouting insults, teaching each other to prove their manliness by pouring food they did not buy, by slapping a woman he found home, by urinating on the haunted children, by butchering their mother to show their might and mastery of content from the round the pot, men's conference from the Malwa pot. Your story is the story. Your story is the story of the little girl learning obedience to the obedient, that little girl, being told to carry pepper spray, a double-edged knife. That little girl being taught kicks to a man's dangerous position to save herself. Her story is on your lips, waiting to be told. Her salvation is in your refusal to comply with the fright of the tough half-man that fights and frightens to be felt. That half-man that kicks the woman to show that he's man enough. That half-man that urinates on his children to show that he's tough. Dry your tears. Overcome your fears and let this story never be told again as a lament of the weak. Let this story never be told again as a lament of the weak, but a memory of the dark days of society, teaching a girl child self-defense and a boy child to surrender is not womanhood. Boys are not made better when they are told to be weaker before women. And women are not made better when they are told to show men that they are tougher. Teach the boys. Teach the girls. Tell her story as a mother, tell her story as a father, as a brother, tell her story as a sister. Tell society a girl will no longer sit back to learn self-defense against men, but food security for society. Tell her story, tell society that the boy will not sit back and listen as society isolates her, handing it all to the girl. Today's boy has not done anything wrong to the girl. Today's boy has not eaten the liver of the kitchen. Today's boy has not eaten the liver of the chicken. Today's boy has not eaten the gizzard. Today's boy is seated, whispering love, nothing, and telling the woman, I love you. But today's girl is being told to fight the boy, to be stronger, beat the boy, kick his hard parts. Kick him down there. Don't spare him. When he comes, kick below his belt. Today's boy is being trained to be weaker. Wait, watch as he's kicked below his belt as he falls. And so when he falls, he's a gentleman. And so when he falls, he's a good boy. Today's boy is being told to be weak. Woman, tell a story without exaggeration. Tell society a girl will no longer sit back to learn self-defense against men. And tell society a boy will no longer sit back as society isolates him. Favors to a woman do not create great men. Favors to a woman create weak men. Tell a story without making men victims. Tell a story. Tell society a girl child hates this identity, prefers to be called a child like any other child. Tell society a boy child hates this identity, prefers to be referred to as a perpetrator. A boy child of today has not annoyed anyone. A boy child of today has not hurt anyone. A boy child of today, a boy child of today is a good boy. Tell her story to the little boys growing up. That gender is no manifestation of strength, but marks of societal responsibility. Tell the girl growing up today that men are not her rivals, but her husband, her father-in-law, her sons, her president, her friend. Her story is not a flower to blossom and shade. It is the 11th commandment for a balanced society. It is not a brave side dog. It is a victory song. Her story is not a plea. It is a yardstick to greatness. Her story is not a eulogy. No. Her story is not against the man. Her story is not against today's boy. Her story should not be against today's boy. Her story should be about her own suffering. Her story should not be about the 6 parts of today's man. Her story should be about herself and the struggles and her dreams. Her story is not a cry for independence. Her story should be a cry for equality. No, she deserves no apology. She needs a level ground. She needs a front bench, but not in front of men, but with men. Her story is not of her sitting in front of men. It's of her sitting with men. Her story is of her sitting with men. She's the mother of mankind. But the man is the father of mankind. Her story should not preach revenge. It should not preach hatred for men. It should preach innovation. Woman! Free your soul from the victim zone. Drop the mental chains. You are already great. Not by validation or permission, but by divine mission to create better nations. Woman! Stop making yourself weak. You are the mother we look up to. Woman! Stop lamenting and crying and shedding tears. Men are not your enemies, but your partners. Men! Greatness does not come from how bigger the slap is. Greatness does not come from how louder the shout is. Men, respect your women. Woman, free yourself from the victim zone. Drop the mental chains. You are already great, not by validation and permission, but by divine mission to create better nations. May your story never be told by the graveside. May your story never be told by the mourners. May your story never be told by the passerby. May your story be told by you. When you stand victorious before men that are equally victorious. You don't need to create weaker men to be greater women. Your true happiness is not centered on how bad you treat men. Your true happiness is centered on how true you are to yourself. Your true greatness is not centered on how bad you treat a woman. Your true happiness is based on how best you are raised. Let your men have their positions and let your women have their positions. Your story is not an accusation against men, against your husband. Your story is not a manifestation of might. Weak men fight their wives. Weak women prove their husbands they can shout back when they are advised. horned, not frightened, not torn. Speak your truth, clear and strong. Let it heal, not linger long. Your voice is power, your heart is free. Tell your story responsibly.